Hello everyone and welcome to the Wire community. In this video, we will discuss the Lok Sabha elections 2024, which have recently been concluded in India. So we will discuss about the constitutional provisions, the legal provisions, the Election Commission of India, Model Code of Conduct, about which parties have won and which parties have not been able to win, the NDA alliance, the India alliance, and all the important things that are important from your exam as well as interview perspective. So if you're looking for a holistic video on the overall important facts about the elections 2024, this is the one. Okay, so let's get started. So on 4th of June, the Lok Sabha election results have been declared. And these elections were held for a total of 543 constituencies. That simply means that the entire country has been divided into 543 segments. And in each of these segments, one representative has been declared as the winner. And these 543 members will now be sitting in a single house and will make laws for the country. And that house is the Lok Sabha. So these people are now going to represent us, the people of India, over the next 5 years. That is until 2029, when the next Lok Sabha elections will be held. Also, these elections were the 18th Lok Sabha elections, which is really important fact. I think more than 90% of the people who have even voted this time won't be aware which Lok Sabha has been constituted. It is the 18th Lok Sabha that has been constituted. Now, so when we talk about these elections, there are certain things that we should be really clear about. First of all, where do these elections fall in the overall structure of electioneering in India? When we talk about the structure of administration in India, the administration is, you can say, structured around 3 different levels. The first level is the center, that is the union government at the center. The second is the state. For example, Kerala, Haryana, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, all these are states. That is the second level of administration in India. The third level is district. And within district, we can then bifurcate it into urban and rural. So depending upon which kind of area you live in, let us say if you live in an urban area, then you will be voting in the municipal elections. And if you're living in rural area, you'll be voting in the Panchayati Raj elections. So these are the 3 levels of administration. Now, as far as the state is concerned, some of the states have 2 houses. The upper house is the Legislative Council, which is not mandatory. So it is there only in 6 states of India. That is Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and Telangana. These are the 6 states that have a second house. And the lower houses, that is the first house, is Legislative Assembly. And this is mandatory in all the states. In fact, it is there in 3 UTs as well. That is Delhi, Puducherry, and J&K. Although in the UT of J&K, no elections have been held since the abrogation of Article 370 in 2019, but this year the elections are most likely to be held and a house will be constituted. So all the states have a legislative assembly. And the members of legislative assemblies are known as MLAs. Now, when you come to the center level, which is the point of discussion today, there are again 2 houses here. The upper house is the Rajya Sabha, for which the people of India do not directly vote. It is an indirectly elected house. So who votes for the Rajya Sabha members? The members of the Legislative Assembly of each state vote for the members of the Rajya Sabha. The second house at the center is the Lok Sabha, which is the point of discussion. Lok Sabha is the lower house and it has 543 elected members. As far as Rajya Sabha is concerned, there are a total of 245 members. So at the central level, that is at the level of the union government, it is the Lok Sabha that is the major house, although it is the lower house, and it plays the most pivotal role in making laws for the country. Right? So the laws that are made by the Lok Sabha. These are some basics that you should know. Then the Parliament of India, just like I just discussed. So Rajya Sabha, that is Rajyon ki Sabha or the Council of States as it is known. So this is the upper house and it has a total strength of 245 members, out of which 233 are indirectly elected, that is by the MLAs of all the states. And 12 members are nominated by the President of India. And these members are nominated from the field of art, science, literature, and social service. As far as the Lok Sabha is concerned, so Lok Sabha means Logon ki Sabha, that is house of the people, the commoners. And this house is known as the lower house. And its total strength is 543, which are all directly elected by the people like you and me. Earlier, there used to be a provision of 2 members from the Anglo-Indian community who used to be nominated by the president. So 2 members from the Anglo-Indian community used to be nominated to the Lok Sabha by the President of India. However, this provision was discontinued following the 104th Constitutional Amendment Act in 2020. So there is no reservation for Anglo-Indians in the Lok Sabha anymore. This provision has been done away with. So in total, there are only 543 directly elected seats in the Lok Sabha. That is about the Parliament of India. And another very important fact, when you say the word Parliament, what you imply is 3 things. Number 1, Rajya Sabha. Number 2, Lok Sabha. Number 3, and very important, the President of India. So if you're ever asked a question, which of the following are the components of Parliament? It is all these 3, Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, as well as the President. And the reason is that for making any law, all 3 need to come together. So a bill is first passed in one house, then it is passed in the other house, but it does not become a law unless the president has, signed it. Unless the president has signed it, it does not become a law. The day president signs a law, it becomes a law. It becomes an act, from a bill to an act. So it is actually all the 3 which constitute the Parliament of India. Very important, but you should know that. Then there was a lot of hullabaloo about exit polls. So we should know what are exit polls, what are their pros and cons. Exit polls are basically estimation, or you can say estimates of actual results based upon the opinion of the people who are coming out after voting, or based upon the feedback of voters. So exit means the people who are exiting after voting. Although now you may say that there is secret ballot, like, no one is required to tell who they voted for. There is secret ballot in India. You are not supposed to tell anyone, and no one is supposed to ask you. That is a violation of your privacy. But these media houses, they ask you on the condition of anonymity. So they do never reveal your name. They just ask you who you voted for. So they have this small sample size and they ask, let us say, so if in a constituency there are, let us say, 10 lakh voters, they will ask probably 10,000 of them, who are coming out of the polling centers, like who do you voted for? Who do you voted for? So based on that, they extrapolate that figure and they try to estimate which party is going to win where. These are known as exit polls. And there is a rule regarding exit polls that these cannot be revealed, or these can be revealed only after the last day or phase polling has ended. So let us say these Lok Sabha elections were held in 7 phases in April and as well as in May. Let us say if it was on 5th of April, 10th of April, 15th of April, 20th of April. So until the 7th phase is over, let us say the 7th phase was on 1st of June. So on 1st of June, the voting ended at 6 p.m. So exit poll results can be declared at 6:01, not before that. If they reveal the results before that, there is a high chance that voters' opinion may be swayed. Because people tend to vote for the party that has winning, you can say, that has the probability to win. So it sways the voter away from their natural choice. That is why there is a regulation that exit poll results cannot be declared unless the last phase's polling is over. So now you will say that, let us say on 1st of June, the last phase of polling was, and the results were declared on 4th of June. So like, what is the use of having just 2 days, because everybody's talking nonsense for these 2 days based on speculation. So first of all, let's talk about the pros. What is the benefit of it? You can say it satiates the appetite. If I put it in this way, it satiates the appetite of a curious voter. So after 1st of June, people are really curious who is going to win, and the excitement level is really high. And these days, media is selling just about anything. So they are looking for something like that. So in the name of freedom of expression, they share all their speculations based on the small sample size. And there are debates and discussions and pointless controversies for these 2 days. A lot of invectives are hurled by politicians at each other at the fag end of their campaigning. So this is what happens. So all these are the cons, that these exit polls are never too accurate. In fact, there are almost half the chances that the predictions will not be right. This time also it happened. Like almost all the exit poll results were saying that this NDA is coming with majority, but that actually did not happen on the ground. So that is something that that needs to be looked into. They are never too accurate. They lead to unnecessary speculation. And this time, the reason it has been so much in news is because everybody was anticipating that NDA will come with a full majority. So on 2nd of June, on 1st and 2nd of June, the stock markets went really high in anticipation of a majority government, a single party majority government. But on 4th of June, when the results were announced, the stock market saw one of its biggest nosedives. And in a single day, mind you, in a single day, 30 lakh crore worth of investor wealth was wiped out from the stock markets. 30 lakh crore rupees. So many companies lost, although only FMCG sector or fast moving consumer goods sector saw an uptick. And the reason for that was that FMCG is fast moving consumer goods. So when a coalition government comes into power, there are chances that welfare schemes are going to take center stage. Government is going to go ahead with a lot of welfare schemes. So the consumption of FMCG goods is going to increase drastically by way of government procurement. And in that anticipation, the FMCG stocks like Hindustan Unilever, DMart, etc., they went up, right? So exit polls, not really much relevant, but they are done. So if the court thinks that they are to be barred, then the media houses will say that we have freedom of speech and expression. We are not interfering with the election process in any way. The last phase of elections is over. Now no voter is going to be changing their mind based on exit poll. So these are just 2 days of fun. Let us do it. That will be their point. I mean, but there is no point holding exit polls if the tangible losses are so high. Because of that unnecessary speculation created by exit polls, the stock market went up. But on the day of elections, as the people got to know, as the investors got to know that no single party is getting majority, the stock market crashed, sort of crashed, 6 to 7% reduction in the stocks. That is 30 lakh crore rupees of market capitalization wiped out. Okay, so there was discussion on it. So now let's take a look at some of the highlights. So if we talk about the constitutional provisions of Lok Sabha elections, Article 81 mentions about it, and there are 543 elected members. The term of Lok Sabha is 5 years or until dissolved by the president. So Lok Sabha can always be dissolved by the president before it completes its term under several circumstances. Usually when the prime minister or led by the council of ministers, the prime minister asks the president to dissolve it. So anyone above 18 years in India can cast a vote, and this is known as universal adult franchise. By 61st Amendment, the age of voting in India was brought down from 21 to 18. So before 61st Amendment, the minimum age for voting was 21, but it was brought down to 18. The process of election is first past the post system. This means that a candidate need not win more than half of the total votes polled. As long as he or she is getting the maximum number of votes polled, it is fine. Right? So direct election through first past the post system. So that means if there are a total of 100 votes polled and candidate A gets 30 votes, candidate B gets 25 votes, C gets 15 votes. So here A will be declared as the winner despite the fact that he was not able to secure more than half the votes. That is 51. So since his votes are more than everyone else's, this is first past the post. So in a race, it is not necessary that you run a specific speed. What matters is that you run faster than the others. It's a competition. So if you cross the post first, you win. That is first past the post. Post means the finishing line. The seats that are required for majority are 272 seats, which are known as absolute majority. Absolute majority is the 50% plus 1 of the total strength of the house. So 543, the total seats of Lok Sabha, divided by 2 is 272. So a party or a coalition needs 272 seats in the Lok Sabha to form the government. So for example, the current coalition, NDA or National Democratic Alliance, has 293 seats collected. And that is why they're able to form the government. So let's take a look at the number of seats. The top party is the Bharatiya Janata Party with 240 seats. But as you can tell, the absolute majority is 272, which they were not able to get this time. Last time, the BJP got 303 seats on their own, thereby making it a single party majority. But this time, they have got 240 seats, so they need at least 32 more to reach the halfway mark. Anyway, the second party was Indian National Congress. So despite their best efforts, they were not able to touch 3-digit, but impressive performance from the last time when they were able to get, somewhere in 40s. So they have managed to increase their seat count by almost more than double. Third is Samajwadi Party of Uttar Pradesh, led by Akhilesh Yadav. It has 137 seats. Fourth is Trinamool Congress led by Ms. Mamata Banerjee, having 29 seats. And at number 5 is Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam of Tamil Nadu, having 22 seats. If we talk about their alliances, BJP is a part of NDA alliance. INC is a part of India, that is Indian National Democratic Inclusive Alliance. SP is again of India. Trinamool Congress also. Right? So you should know about some of these parties. Then let's talk briefly about Election Commission of India. So Election Commission of India is a constitutional body. It's a constitutional body. That means its provision is mentioned in the Constitution of India. It was established on 25th of January 1950, a day before the India became a republic on 26th January. And to commemorate this, we celebrate it as the National Voters' Day. And in 2024, the theme of the National Voters' Day was nothing like voting. I vote for sure. Nothing like voting, I vote for sure. This was the theme of 2024's National Voters' Day. It is composed of one Chief Election Commissioner and two Election Commissioners. The Chief Election Commissioner is Mr. Rajiv Kumar. So do remember this name, Mr. Rajiv Kumar. They are appointed by the President of India himself or herself. So that shows the stature of this commission. Their tenure is 6 years or up to the age of 65 years, whichever is earlier. They are removed also by the President, and it is by parliamentary resolution. That is both Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. If they pass resolutions by special majority, only then CEC can be removed. And the other election commissioners, the two election commissioners, they are removed on the recommendation of the Chief Election Commissioner, not otherwise. So there are 6 types of elections that the Election Commission of India conducts. Number 1, Rajya Sabha elections. Number 2, Lok Sabha elections. Number 3, the President of India's elections. Number 4, the Vice President of India's elections. Number 5, the Legislative Council of a state, which only 6 states have. And number 6, the Legislative Assembly. These are the 6 elections conducted by Election Commission of India. As far as the panchayats and municipal elections are concerned, that is in urban and rural local bodies, these elections are conducted by State Election Commission. Right? So Punjab State Election Commission will conduct Panchayati Raj and municipal elections in Punjab, Haryana's. So every state has their own State Election Commission, which again is a constitutional body under 73rd Amendment. So both State Election Commission and Election Commission of India are constitutional bodies. So they conduct the elections, prepare voter rolls and everything. Right? There was certain controversy regarding Election Commission of India a few months ago. And that controversy is associated with the Selection Committee of Election Commission of India. So earlier, the Selection Committee used to consist of the Prime Minister, the Chief Justice of India, and the Leader of Opposition. But the government changed it to Prime Minister, one Union Minister nominated by the Prime Minister, and third is the Leader of Opposition. So here, one person was of the government, one of the opposition, and one was supposed to be neutral because of the judge. When the government changed it, they created a majority of their own. So the Prime Minister is also representing the government, the Union Minister is also representing the government, and the LOP is, of course, representing the opposition. this is a bit of an opposition in to the Election Commission of India's changed rules, but that's what you should know. Right? Then let's talk about the model code of conduct. So you must have seen that a day before the actual voting is started or actual voting is held, the election campaigning cannot be held. For example, if on 3rd of some month, let us say on 3rd of April, if voting is to be done, the time of the voting is 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So when should the campaigning stop? The campaigning should stop very carefully 48 hours before polling ends. That means 48 hours before 6 p.m. on 3rd April would be 6 p.m. on 1st April. Okay. So on 1st April, 6 p.m. Model Code of Conduct will apply and no campaigning can be held. Another meaning of Model Code of Conduct is that no new schemes, no new policies can be announced. And this starts when the election schedule is announced. Right? So for example, if the election schedule is announced 1 month before the elections, the moment the election schedule is being announced by the Election Commission of India, Model Code of Conduct automatically comes into force. So there are two types of Model Code of Conduct. One that comes into force immediately with the announcement of elections. And second, that comes into force 48 hours before the polling is scheduled to end, so that a person can have 1 day and 2 nights of absolute hustle-free or absolute, you can say, noise-free mind making. So he or she can decide who or she's going to vote for. These are the rules regarding Model Code of Conduct. Then there are two kinds of parties, national parties and regional parties, for which there is a criteria. Very carefully you will see. So for a party to become a national party, they must secure at least 6% of the total valid votes polled in 4 or more states in Lok Sabha elections. Or when it comes to assembly elections, they win at least 4 seats in the Lok Sabha. So how does a party become a national party? You need to have 6% of the total valid votes polled in 4 or more states, plus 4 Lok Sabha seats from anywhere in India. Or winning 2% of the seats in Lok Sabha. 2% of the seats means 552%. That is 11 seats, and that too from at least 3 different states. So it can be 443, it can be 515, it can be anything. A total of 11 seats from 3 different states. And if the total vote is spread on 2% of the seats, or if it is recognized as a state party in at least 4 states. Okay. Now, as far as the regional parties are concerned, they again must secure at least 6% of the valid votes polled and win at least 2 seats in the legislative assembly of the state. So let us say if elections are being held in Odisha, a party which is trying to become a state party in Odisha must get at least 6% of the total valid votes polled in the entire state, plus win at least 2 seats. So it is not enough that you win 6% votes and no seats at all. That is not a good criteria. Or they must secure at least 6% of the valid vote and win at least 1 seat in the Lok Sabha. Or they can win 3% of the total number of seats allotted to that state. Or there is a new criteria that was added. So if a party is not able to win any seat, but they get enough number of votes due to the FPTP system, So if they secure 8% or more of the total valid votes polled in the state, then they are fit to be called a state party. Right? The election symbols are given to them by the Election Commission of India. in case of national as well as regional parties. Then finally, let's come to the talk of coalition versus majority government. There are positives as well as negatives of both of them. So first of all, if we talk about the positives of coalition government. So if we talk about the positives of coalition government, it leads to more consensus-based approach. It leads to more inclusive decisions, right? It leads to more deliberations. But on the other hand, and also they promote pluralism, like more people are a part of the government, more parties are a part of the government. But at the same time, this can lead to delays in decisions. It can lead to lack of strong reforms where there is no consensus building. So it's very difficult to call a spade if you are in coalition government. You're always saving your own government from falling, and that's why you're able to compromise. Okay, so lack of strong reforms is one reason. Then instability, of course, is a problem. In the past, we have seen in India coalition governments from 1977 to 1980 when Mr. Morarji Desai and Mr. Charan Singh ruled for brief periods. Then we saw such instability from 1989 to 1991 when Mr. VP Singh and Mr. Chandrasekhar were the prime ministers and PV Narasimha Rao took over in less than 3 years. So India saw 4 different prime ministers in less than 4 years. So it leads to instability. Now, the negatives of a coalition government are the positives of a majority government. So this is about coalition government. Now, if we talk about a majority government, which has more than 272 seats in the Lok Sabha, single party. So here there are delays, here fast decisions, strong reforms, and it leads to stability. And similarly, the positives of coalition become the negatives of a majority government. So the first positive of coalition is consensus. Here is consensus loses importance. It's not that it is not there, but loses importance. So even if a party is not willing with the agenda of the majority party government, they let it go. They let the party go. So consensus loses its importance. Decisions are not necessarily inclusive. And it leads to majoritarianism sometimes. Majoritarianism it leads to, which can lead to reckless decision making as well. So both have their pros and cons, which you should be able to see. As far as India is concerned, we saw majority governments for the better part of us. So from 1947 till, you can say, almost 1984. There were breaks in between, like the break from, so this was a majority government. There were breaks in between, like the period from 77 to 80. That was a coalition. However, if you talk about coalition government, in fact, I think, yes, 1989 it should be. Yes, the Rajiv Gandhi government was also a majority government from 1984 to 1989. From 1989 till 2014, what we have seen is the era of coalition governments. The last one led by Prime Minister Manmohan Singh from 2004 to 2014. And post 2014, or rather now I should say from 2014 to 2024, we again saw a majority government. So these are phases, you can say. Right? And from 2024 onwards, we are seeing a coalition already. That means there are very good, safe checks and balances enshrined in the constitution itself, which is able to take care of any kind of situation the elections throw at us. Then finally, the portfolios have been allocated and a few ministers I'll discuss with you. The most important ministry have been, in fact, retained by the BJP government. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi is holding the Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions, Atomic Energy and Space, which are usually kept by the Prime Ministers. Then Mr. Rajnath Singh continues as the Defense Minister. Mr. Amit Shah continues as the Home Affairs and Cooperation Minister. Mr. Nitin Gadkari, of course, known for revolutionizing road transport in India, is again Minister of Road Transport and Highways, and also the Minister of Chemicals and Fertilizers. Mr. J.P. Nadda is the Minister of Health. Now, Mr. Shivraj Chauhan, who is the former Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, has been brought in the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare and Rural Development. Ms. Sitharaman continues as Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs. Mr. Jaishankar, of course, the profile that fits him the best, Ministry of External Affairs. Mr. Manohar Lal Khattar, the former CM of Haryana, has been allocated the portfolio of Housing and Urban Affairs and the Ministry of Power. Janata Dal secular leader Mr. H.D. Kumaraswamy, who is the son of former Prime Minister Mr. H.D. Devagowda, has got the Ministry of Heavy Industries and the Ministry of Steel. Mr. Piyush Goyal continues in the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan continues as the Minister of Education. Hindustani Awam Morcha leader Jitan Ram Manjhi, who has also been the former Chief Minister of Bihar, has got the Ministry of MSME. Janata Dal United leader Lalan Singh has got Ministry of Panchayati Raj, Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying. Mr. Sarbanand Sonowal, another former Chief Minister of the state of Assam, has got Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways. Now you must be thinking there are a lot of former Chief Ministers in this cabinet. Yes, you're right. If we include even Prime Minister Modi, who is also the former Chief Minister of Gujarat, there are a total of 5 or 6 Chief Ministers, former Chief Ministers in the current dispensation. Mr. Virendra Kumar has got Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Telugu Desam Party leader Kinjarapu Ram Mohan Naidu has got the Civil Aviation Ministry, which was earlier with Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia. Mr. Prahlad Joshi has got Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, and the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, which is a sunrise ministry, I would say. Mr. Joal Oram, who is a tribal leader, has got the Tribal Affairs Ministry, very apt. Mr. Giriraj Singh has got Textiles. Mr. Ashwini Vaishnav continues as the Minister of Railways. He has also got the charges of Ministry of Information and Broadcasting and Electronics and IT. Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia, who was earlier having Ministry of Civil Aviation, has now been given the Ministry of Communications and the Development of Northeastern Region. Mr. Bhupendra Yadav has Ministry of Environment and Forest. Mr. Gajendra Singh Shekhawat has Tourism and Culture. Some new entrants, Ms. Annapurna Devi has got Ministry of Women and Child Development. She's one of the new entrants. Mr. Kiran Rijiju has got Parliamentary Affairs and Minority Affairs. Mr. Hardeep Singh Puri has Petroleum and Natural Gas. And Mr. Mansukh Mandavia has the Ministry of Labour and Employment and Youth Affairs and Sports. Then some few last ones. G. Kishan Reddy has got Coal and Mines. Then Lok Janshakti Party leader Chirag Paswan, who is an ally of the NDA government, has got Ministry of Food Processing, and C.R. Patil has got Ministry of Jal. That was all about the elections of 2024. I hope most of the questions that you had about these elections have been answered. Political opinions of all of us may vary. Each of us have the constitutional and fundamental right to have our opinions and privileges, and that is totally fine. However, all the opinions should be informed ones. So now you know the basics of parties, election commission, model code of conduct, exit polls, which party has won how many seats, about the alliances, and all the major factual parts that you should be aware of. In case you are more interested in election and their outcomes, do read the newspaper regularly. That will play a huge role in any kind of preparation that you're doing. That is all. Thank you so much and take care.